So today we are going to learn how to use these blocks in different interior designs, and hopefully you'll find a reason to actually use one of these in your builds. Let's begin. So I was actually really surprised when I reached out to the CraftWorks Discord and to all of you that birch is still like on a very high list of never getting used. Same with acacia, and then the nether bricks, which I understand a lot of people don't go to the nether, and a lot of people don't go to the end or fight the dragon, and a lot of people just kind of forget about these blocks because reasons. So we're going to kind of come up with a few different ways that you can actually use these blocks to your advantage. And we're going to start off with birch. Yeah, everybody hates birch for some reason, but I think it's actually a cool build, and I mean a cool block, and I tend to use this wood a lot because we don't have white yet when I'm recording this, but right now we don't. So here's a couple of ideas that I had, especially to use the birch log. Everybody hates the birch log, but you know, there's actually some cool things that you can do with a birch log. I'm going to start with a floor design first for an interior design, and I'm going to kind of give us a area rug design to start with here. I think I may have made this not square. I'm going to kind of make it square. So we're going to use this as the borders of an area rug. And yeah, it looks kind of weird, but if you are doing a Santa Fe style build, it's kind of cool. You can also do stuff with our terracotta that we learned on our last tutorial and make something really pretty neat with it. Like that. And you could also add in some additional colors to it to kind of really tie it up. And yeah, we're using birch still. We're using the ugliest birch. But look how cool of an area rug that is. Not just using that or texturing, we can also use the birch blocks, the actual like birch doors and such. I have seen this birch trapdoor used in windmill designs all over the place. So let's say we're going to make it into a dividing wall of some sort. We'll flip all the trapdoors up. So a very cool kind of dividing wall, and say we want to break it up here in the middle. We have our door. So it becomes kind of a dividing door, a paper door. So we're going to pretend like this area is like a divider between a pool, like, or a hot tub area. I'm going to grab some quartz stairs here, and we're going to make a tub. Kind of go right in front of this. And because we're still using birch here, we're going to make it unique here. Whoops. Come here, you. There we go. A little bit of a tatami. These here. And now we have an Asian-inspired hot tub area using the birch logs, using the birch. Next up on a wood type that not a lot of people like to use, and that is acacia. And I actually love to use acacia, and I like to use acacia doors because they kind of remind me of, like, I don't know, a barred door that you might see in a build that has like glass, because we don't have any like glass interior doors where you can really see through it really well. Most of the doors are like solid, like the birch, still see through them. And if you are a nervous Minecrafter that is always terrified of creepers coming to get you, another idea that you could use these for is actually jail cells. This works really well. It looks like rusted old bars. And another cool thing that you can do is that with acacia, the coloration of the outside of Acacia is really awesome, but the coloration of the inside Acacia is really cool too. And you can come up with some really interesting designs with some of the terracotta blocks that we have available to us, such as the orange glazed terracotta. And you can give it a really cool look to it with a floor design just like that. So the next thing you can do that's not a floor design or using the trapdoors and doors would be using this for an interior design of sorts. And we're going to kind of come over to our area that we really needed, and then we're going to make a nice big fireplace with this. And there you have it, a very beautiful stone fireplace. And obviously you wouldn't have to see all this. You can also use some more color variation as you go. Use some depth in places, but you should not be afraid of using Acacia to be able to do a cool interior design. Next up is our crimson wood, and a lot of people do not like either getting it because hoglins and piglins exist in that biome, or it's just because it's purple. Let's start with some of the ugliest glazed terracotta blocks in the game. I think when these came out, DDR was a real popular thing. Use these regular crimson stems to kind of start to add to it. And on top of that, we're going to do something unusual and use another block I don't use a lot, and that is coral block. Now you do need to use coral block in a very wet environment, so you will have to find a place that you can waterlog. Something I found is really kind of cool with these coral blocks is that they kind of look like, they're a little mushy, but they actually look a lot like a carpet or a woven carpet. And if we take off shaders again, you can kind of see what I mean by that. It looks like a very fluffy carpet from here. We could actually make this design very, very fluffy. We're gonna waterlog all of this area. Then we're gonna use one of these blocks that not a lot of people like to use. And then we're gonna use some, let's just add some magenta carpet to make it more carpety. And there you go. A very wild and woolly kind of carpet. Let's make something that actually goes in a room besides a carpet. So if we set up our doors like this, something I noticed while I was playing around with these blocks to start off with, I don't know about you guys, but this looks like a barrel to me. We're gonna have this as kind of a crate. We have this guy up here. We have some beehives set around like we're in the storage area. Have some of these weird purple crates. You can actually mix in some of these blocks that you normally wouldn't use, but it looks pretty good in a very cluttered storage room look. So another thing that you can do with these crimson blocks would be to kind of make these little storage containers with it. And this block also, similar to our acacia trapdoor, has a very conveyor belt kind of look to it. So let's say we were actually going to create conveyor belt using this crimson block, and I'm going to mix it up just a little bit. We're going to have a warped button to go along with it. And let's say we came back here and we're making a conveyor belt system in a factory. There we go. And then we can kind of come up here and then go boop, 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 down along the sides. It makes a very industrial looking conveyor belt system in a very busy and bustling cyberpunk type factory. Next up on our list is Nether Bricks, and they're kind of a pain to get unless you go to another fortress or you're just smelting up tons and tons of netherrack. And also these magma blocks. Now I find these magma blocks are also underutilized quite a bit, so I like to use some of these in an outdoor build. So we're actually going to come out here and make a large fire pit of sorts for an external decoration of your base. I'm also going to be using this soul soil, which is definitely also underutilized. I don't think a lot of people remember that this block exists unless they've been to a soul sand valley. And that's okay, because it's an okay kind of block. I'm going to make it uneven as much as I don't want it to necessarily like overlap this build. We need a little extra space. So let's do this. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And what's cool is that we can use these magma blocks in our fire pit here to look like some areas have been burned down and are no longer lit. It's kind of cool when you come right up to it and you see these burning coals underneath. Now what we're also going to do is we're going to make a little bit of this into a fire pit. Like a barbecue. And kind of just look like we're roasting a big hunk of meat. So let's find another use for this chiseled nether brick. Now, this whole idea always reminds me of a mad scientist lab for some reason because of the skull in it. So let's make like a mad scientist laboratory by making a mad scientist's desk. I love this idea of having all sorts of like weird and wonderful items that a mad scientist is using. Oh, and of course I forgot to light that up. And we'll need some of this because we need to give him some storage. I'll take some of these barrels. And we've already got ourselves a brewing stand. We've got some redstone. Let's make another little weird redstone thing here just for the heck of it. Redstone detector in there. We're going to use our crimson trapdoors. Nether wart. So a one-stop shop for all a mad scientist redstone crazy needs. So one more idea I had before we finish this out, just to use these chiseled bricks for one more thing, and that is to make a very ominous looking lamp. So we're gonna take a redstone lamp, a daylight detector, so that it can detect when it's on and off. We're gonna use these little guys to make a wither lamp. And wouldn't that be cool, leading up to a very creepy castle? Our next block combination is red nether bricks. And I will say this one gave me a ridiculously hard time trying to figure out what to do with this. And we have a little bit of a limited space because I'm kind of cringing on everything as we build bigger and bigger. So we're going to build it right here. And I had an idea that we should build a throne with this block. So actually, let's see. There we go. This way, and it's really hard to use this block a lot of ways because as you'll notice, like, look how deep of a red this is in comparison to everything else. So one thing I kind of looked at was this with redstone itself. Now, if you're like me, who doesn't use a whole lot of redstone for anything, and I just kind of block it up and leave it. So that makes a really cool carpet design with the redstone, and I just think it's fabulous with this red nether brick. It really fits in. So let's add to this very royal carpet with some red nether brick throne. I think this is kind of a cool idea to use this for this kind of purpose. We're gonna just do like this. And then we'll do up here. And let's do like that. Banners to give it some cushions. I'm actually going to see if we can get it like this so we can have the design upright, so it's kind of giving kind of a arch kind of crown look to it. And then just for the heck of it, we're gonna put some candles in because they're a lot creepier than like other torches and things. And look at that. All right, we are coming near the end of our weird block list, and I think the next one is our Gilded Blackstone. Now, you can't get a lot of this, and when you do get a lot of it, it's kind of like if you've torn down a piglin bastion. So what I propose is we are going to start off with another carpet design, and obviously Gilded Blackstone looks really good with gold, and gold looks really good with this terracotta. Now we're going to kind of use this terracotta to kind of build into this. And then let's try some fancier blocks. We're going to add the actual Gilded Blackstone in. And then let's add some additional Blackstone into the design. And let's add some glowstone, because that is another underutilized block in Minecraft. And let's finish out with some shroom lights, which also don't get used a whole heck of a lot. And not only is this beautiful, but it also is very spawn proof because of all the lit things. And I love how that gold Gilded Blackstone works into the full design. So obviously this is just a floor design. It's just building in a little bit here and there. Let's build an actual build using these by just a little bit. We're going to come over here and give it a little bit of a pillar. And let's do a doorway with these blocks. And I just love the look of the Blackstone with the Gilded Blackstone. And if you want to make it kind of look creepy looking, you can put a little bit of a light in it. And you can also use this glow lichen to give it a different look. And I love how the glow lichen gives it this swirly pattern, but you still see the really awesome gold through it. And let's say we want to add a little bit of extra gold touches to it, and let's add some of these. And I realize I did not use any of that block in here. Let's use a few of these blocks in here too, because I like that look too. And let's take these off, and then we will use maybe one more gilded here. So obviously this is just a doorway, and what does this doorway lead into? Let's say it leads into a smelting area where all of our items have been smelted away, and there are some spills that have happened over time, and the black and the heat from this whole area is just too hot to handle. From all of these lava buckets. And let's give ourselves a little bit of freedom to sort of build in some of this gold, build in some of this Gilded Blackstone. It acts very, very cool with the magma blocks and some of the lava. Then we can also kind of heat this area up a little bit. We have our blast furnaces, grindstone, and we have all of these precious metals and all of these little tools and things in this lava area. And if you wanted to make this into a refillable lava area, you absolutely could. But the idea of these blocks being added into this dwarven mine entrance would be really awesome. Now, Purpur is one of the most unusual and hard to work with blocks. So I have two builds for us, a funny one and a not so funny one. So the funny one, since we're running out of room back here, is giving yourself a 8-pack scarecrow. And I absolutely think this is funny. And I think more people should use this Purpur block as it's intended as a scarecrow. But in all seriousness, you can also do some really cool outdoor kind of decorations with the Purpur block. And we're going to show that right here. by using these pillars, as much as they don't seem like they're that it makes that much sense, but let's start to give it some azaleas up here at the top. We're going to kind of bring these guys up from the ground, and I will show you what we're going to do with that here in a second. We're going to use our azalea bushes here. Light up in here, and the pearlescent frog lights work really well with this. And then we're going to come in and make a path through here. Mycelium, which is a traditionally purple kind of block, and I love the fact that it has like little particles that come up off of it from time to time. Change things around. We'll put a spore blossom in here to give it a little bit of extra like color and life around here. So you could have this as an entrance to a secret garden, because we could add these little blocks of amethyst around, which is a block that kind of gets utilized, but not a whole ton. And we can put these little amethyst blocks around, and you can have a secret garden of crystals and flowers and prettiness, or the silliest 8-pack feller ever. Oop. There we go. Now he's a butterfly. Now for our last grouping of weird and wonky blocks. We've got the red nether wart block, we've got the warped wart block, and then we have the magenta glazed terracotta, which everybody hates and nobody can ever think of a use for, but we're gonna find a use for it, even if it's very weird. I find these nether wart blocks look great as carpet, and we're gonna kind of take a little bit of inspiration from some of the blocks that we've already put in place in other areas and reuse some of these. And I had forgotten I could have totally used this block as a carpet block, and we can even add like actual like depth to it by putting real carpets around. And these aren't even as nice and red as these warped wart blocks are. And let's do there. And it is like the most royal red carpet that you have ever seen when we're using these nether wart blocks. Next up, we have our warped wart block. Say that 5 times fast. I just tried and I couldn't do it. But we're going to start with a mosaic design against the wall. So I didn't go over in my terracotta tutorial that you can always use a wall space for adding blocks, and the terracotta, the glazed terracotta, is a little bit more difficult to build with when you're building it into an existing wall, but it works on the same principle of which way do you have to face to get the design you want in the order you want. You're still going to turn your body in the different ways until you get the one you want. What's nice about this is that we have our little terracotta, our little creeper face here. So I'd like to do some of this powder along these walls. We already have some of our warped blocks. I know I need to face it this way. If I wanted to get our creeper face in here, right side up, upside down, just like that. And then we'll finish out with our powder right here. And from a distance, that actually doesn't look too bad, and you don't see it a whole lot. Now we can add some carpet into the walls. We could add some blackstone. Now we can add a little bit into this design by giving it some depth. But also leaving some of these pops of color through here with just those little pops of color. And then once you get done with that, if you want to continue this design out onto a floor for a mosaic or kind of be funny with it, you could also bring this warp stem out. You could even give yourself a little creeper face on the floor too. So as for our very last block, we have used it for a floor design, but let's say we use it for its most obvious purpose, a DDR pad. So we could actually do, if we figure out the arrows here, we can kind of flip it this way, flip it this way, flip it this way, and flip it this way. And we have a DDR pad. So we have to fill the spots in between. So we're gonna put some... Actually, let's put some pink in here, because this kind of looks like pink in between. And we're going to put a pink pad in this, because this is going to be a very girly DDR pad here. And let's build up a TV screen. So we're going to kind of bring that up. Have a TV screen where the arrows would be residing. And to finish it off, we're gonna put some side panels on the screen itself, and maybe we could do like some kind of fun design on the top too. So let's try, is that up? Yep, so we want up, we want right, left, right, nope, down, right, up. You know what, I like it. Oh yeah. The little thing that everybody stands up against when they're playing the game. There we go. In case you really get going on this footpad, you can put your back up against the wall here to go boink and a boink and a boink. So the sound system is being pumped out with the note blocks. And to really make the whole setting pop, we're gonna put a music disc in here. And play a little bit of DDR listening to Pigstep. Thank you all so much for joining me on this adventure of using unusable blocks. Well, at least blocks that people don't use typically. I hope you find some inspiration in all of this, and if you did, leave me a comment about it, and you can join our CraftWorks Discord and let me know in there and share some pictures of where you have used some of these blocks. And keep on growing, keep on learning, and keep on playing around with the different blocks that you just don't usually see or usually use. From me to you, this has been Millie. Love you very much. Give yourselves a hug from me, and I will see you next time.